The Patterson-Gimlin film, A Legend is Born. The wind swept cold and relentless through the towering pines of Northern California's remote Six Rivers National Forest. Somewhere deep within this wilderness, hidden beneath layers of moss and shadow, something watched in silence. Roger Patterson's eyes were fixed on the horizon, but his mind was elsewhere, on the distant possibility that the creature he'd been chasing for years was finally within reach. Born in 1933, Patterson had grown up in Yakima, Washington, a boy with a fierce competitive streak. From high school football to rodeo riding and amateur boxing, he had always thrived on adrenaline and challenge. Yet beneath that rugged exterior, a curiosity burned, a fascination with the unknown, with legends that whispered in the woods. It all started, he often said later, with an article. In December 1959, Ivan T. Sanderson's piece in True magazine introduced him to the idea of the abominable snowmen, creatures of myth and legend, yet strangely supported by footprints and sightings. Sanderson's encyclopedic Abominable Snowmen, Legend Come to Life, published in 1961, only deepened Patterson's obsession. He pored over every account, every footprint, every report from the remote corners of the country. By 1962, Patterson was in Bluff Creek, talking with locals, examining footprints, and dreaming of proof. The area was a nexus of stories, of enormous footprints, strange sounds, and fleeting glimpses of a mysterious ape-like creature. Patterson's fascination grew into an obsession. He believed deep down that somewhere out there was the truth, and he was destined to find it. He founded the Northwest Research Foundation, a modest organization dedicated to uncovering the truth. Funding was scarce, and ridicule was plentiful. Skeptics dismissed him as a dreamer. But Patterson was undeterred. He invested thousands of hours and dollars into the search, often risking ridicule and failure. His self-published book, Do Abominable Snowmen of America Really Exist?, came out in 1966, an eclectic collection of newspaper clippings, sketches, and personal stories. It was a patchwork, but for Patterson, it was a declaration. Proof was out there, waiting for the right person to find it. His goal was clear. If he could just film the creature, capture its form on a reel, he would become famous, perhaps even wealthy. But years passed, and the creature remained elusive. Yet Patterson's obsession only intensified. He continued to organize expeditions, gathering support from locals and a small circle of believers. The area around Bluff Creek became his sanctuary, a place of legend where he believed the truth lay hidden. Bob Gimlin was a different man altogether. Born in 1931, like Roger, he was a rodeo rider, amateur boxer, and local champion in his weight class. That is where the similarities ended. He knew the wilds of Northern California better than most. He had a rugged, skeptical demeanor and a straightforward outlook on life. When Patterson approached him with the idea of an expedition into the woods, Gimlin hesitated. He admired Patterson's passion, but dismissed the stories as legends, tall tales spun by locals and loggers. Still, loyalty and curiosity drew him into the venture. Gimlin's initial skepticism remained, even as they prepared for their trip. He doubted the existence of a creature like Bigfoot, but he was willing to see for himself. After all, the woods held many secrets, tracks, sounds, fleeting shadows. Perhaps the stories had some truth. In the early morning of October 20th, 1967, they set out, their truck loaded with provisions, their horses saddled, and a mixture of hope and doubt in their hearts. The landscape was wild and unforgiving, a maze of trees, streams, and rocky outcroppings. Patterson, familiar with the area, had studied reports of footprints and sightings, some dating back years. The nearby Blue Creek Mountain had yielded enormous footprints in recent years, and Patterson believed this was the place where he might finally find proof. The day was overcast, the air thick with anticipation. Patterson, camera in hand, was eager to document what no one had seen before. Gimlin was wary but committed. They rode along the creek, their horses moving steadily through the undergrowth. As they approached a familiar fallen tree, a landmark they had marked on maps, the atmosphere shifted. Patterson's pulse quickened. Something was different today, different from the countless days of tracking and searching. Sometime between 1:15 and 1:40 p.m., the men rounded the bend in the creek. The sun had begun to peek through the canopy, casting shifting patches of light across the forest floor. Patterson's eyes caught a large root system protruding from the ground, a feature that had become a marker for the area. Then suddenly they saw it. A figure, tall, broad-shouldered, covered in dark, shaggy hair, was standing on the opposite bank, partially obscured by the brush and a fallen log. Patterson's heart pounded in his chest. Gimlin's eyes widened, and a stunned silence fell. For a moment neither spoke. The creature was unmoving, but its presence was overwhelming. Patterson estimated it at about 7 feet tall, maybe more, with a body covered in short, dark, reddish-brown hair. Its stance was confident, an animal that knew it was being watched. Gimlin later recalled his shock. It was like looking at something from a nightmare. I couldn't believe my eyes. Patterson, quick to act, dismounted and ran toward the creature, camera ready. His heart was pounding as he sprinted, voice shouting, "Cover me!" A reflex born from years of anticipation. The creature turned its head slowly, glancing over its shoulder. Patterson managed to capture the fleeting image, an outline of a massive, ape-like figure with a gait that suggested intelligence and awareness. The creature's eyes seemed to meet Patterson's, an unspoken challenge or perhaps a warning. The creature then moved away, walking slowly upstream, its enormous feet leaving impressions in the soft mud. Patterson ran after it, filming as he went, until the creature vanished behind a grove of trees. The entire encounter lasted less than 3.5 minutes, yet it seemed to stretch into eternity. The moment Patterson and Gimlin returned to their camp, the adrenaline hadn't yet subsided. Their horses were restless, the echoes of the encounter ringing in their ears. Patterson, clutching the film canister, knew he had something extraordinary, something that could change everything. By late evening, Patterson was already planning his next steps. He knew the importance of getting the film processed quickly. Rumors swirled among the locals. Some whispered about the strange figures seen in the woods. Others dismissed it as a hoax. But Patterson believed he had captured proof. Gimlin, meanwhile, was quieter. The shock of the encounter still lingered. He had seen many things in his life, rodeos, boxing rings, remote forests, but this was different. It defied explanation. He kept his doubts to himself, wary of the scrutiny that might follow. That night they stayed at a small camp, trying to process what they had seen and filmed. Patterson's mind raced with possibilities. Scientists would want to see this. The world would want to see it. Yet a gnawing doubt also crept in. What if it was a hoax? Could it be, after all, just a trick of the light or a large primate in disguise? Morning came early. Patterson and Gimlin gathered their cameras, footprints, and gear. They set out to track the creature's footprints, massive impressions in the soft mud, some over a foot long. Patterson measured and made plaster casts, marveling at their size. The footprints seemed to confirm that their mysterious figure was no ordinary animal. But the skeptics were already circling. Within weeks, the film was making waves far beyond their small circle. Local newspapers picked up the story, and soon it was headline material in regional and national outlets. Patterson, eager to share his discovery, arranged for showings at various venues, small theaters, community halls, and cryptozoology conferences. The response was tumultuous. Some viewers were convinced, unimpressed by the graininess but struck by the creature's proportions and gait. Others dismissed it outright, claiming it was a clever hoax. The scientific community, as expected, was cautious. Most zoologists, primatologists, and anthropologists dismissed the footage. They argued it could be a man in a costume, a misidentification of a bear, or simply a trick of shadows and camera angles. Dr. Philip Anderson, a well-respected primatologist, publicly stated, "This is a poorly shot film with many ambiguities. There's no physical evidence, no bones, no hair samples. Until we get something tangible, I remain skeptical." Yet, amid the skepticism, some scientists and researchers looked at the footage with curiosity. Grover Krantz, a respected anthropologist, analyzed the film frame by frame, believing it to be the most convincing evidence yet. The debate became a staple in cryptozoological circles. The film's authenticity was questioned, defended, dissected endlessly. Some experts pointed out inconsistencies in Patterson and Gimlin stories, different estimates of the creature's size, variations in their descriptions, and the timeline of events. Gimlin remained largely silent during this period. He refused to speak publicly about the encounter for many years, wary of the backlash and the weight of the controversy. Patterson, however, was passionate. He believed firmly that what they had filmed was real. His conviction was unwavering, even as critics called him a hoaxer or a fantasist. Despite the disputes, the footage's fame grew. It was shown on television and in documentaries, dissected by experts and amateurs alike. The grainy images became iconic, an indelible symbol of the mystery of Bigfoot. In 1968, Patterson took the film on a tour. He appeared on talk shows, Johnny Carson, Merv Griffin, and even local radio stations, showing clips and talking about his discovery. The public was captivated. People lined up to see the footage, eager to believe or disbelieve. The film was licensed for distribution, and small-scale commercial ventures emerged. Patterson, eager to capitalize on his discovery, sold rights to various parties. Some of these productions, like the 1975 documentary Bigfoot, Man or Beast, incorporated the footage, further fueling the legend. But the controversy persisted. Critics pointed out the film's flaws, its shakiness, the difficulty of authenticating the creature's identity. Some argued it was a costume, perhaps a man in a suit, carefully crafted to mimic a creature of myth. Yet, no definitive evidence of hoaxing ever emerged. No one could produce a convincing costume or prove it was a fake. The film remained the most convincing visual evidence of Bigfoot, an enduring mystery. The Patterson-Gimlin film had long been a cornerstone of Bigfoot lore. Decades after that fateful day in 1967, it continued to stir debate, fascination, and controversy. But in recent years, technological advances and renewed scrutiny had uncovered startling new details that challenged previously held beliefs about the creature and reignited the fierce debate. Was this film truly authentic, or was it a masterful hoax? In 2011, a team of researchers led by cryptozoologist Dr. Emily Carter and filmmaker David Johnson revisited the original film reels. Their goal was to enhance the footage with modern digital tools, hoping to clarify some of the ambiguities that had persisted for over 4 decades. During their analysis, they uncovered something astonishing, a segment of the footage that had not been publicly released or even widely known. Hidden in the original film, in a section of the timeline that was shaky and often overlooked, was a sequence showing multiple Bigfoots. The new footage revealed at least 3 distinct figures moving through the trees. The most startling was a smaller, juvenile Bigfoot, an infant or very young creature, clinging to the side of a larger adult. The infant's tiny form was unmistakable, with delicate hairless patches around the face and limbs, and a curious gaze fixed on the camera. The larger adults displayed complex behaviors. One appeared to be a female, as well as the main subject, evident from the well-formed breasts visible beneath the shaggy hair. She also showed an unusual swelling, possibly a hernia, visible on the thigh area. The footage also suggested that the creature's mid-tarsal joint, a feature critical for primate locomotion, was clearly visible, an anatomical detail that skeptics had long argued was inconsistent with costumes. The new footage caused a tidal wave of excitement among believers and researchers who had long argued for the creature's reality. Dr. Carter, a respected primatologist turned cryptozoologist, insisted that these anatomical features were impossible to fake convincingly in a costume, especially the mid-tarsal break and the breasts. She argued that the presence of a hernia and the detailed anatomy supported the claim that the figures were biological, living creatures. The infant's appearance was particularly compelling. Its delicate limbs and curious gaze fit with the idea of a juvenile dependent on the adults, adding a new dimension to the creature's social structure. "This footage finally shows us not just a silhouette," she proclaimed, "but detailed anatomy that aligns with primate biology. The existence of a female, an infant, and anatomical features like the mid-tarsal break make this footage irrefutable, if you accept the premise that it's real." Skeptics, meanwhile, were quick to dismiss the new footage as a trick of digital enhancement or a hoax in its own right. They claimed that the unseen footage could have been fabricated by skilled costume designers or edited with digital tools to insert multiple figures. "This is clearly a composite," argued Dr. Philip Anderson, a prominent zoologist skeptical of Bigfoot claims. "The footage can be manipulated, and the anatomical details, such as the breasts and hernia, are too perfect. It's a Hollywood-level trick, not biological evidence." Others pointed out inconsistencies: the timing of the footage's discovery, the possibility of multiple costumes, and the lack of physical remains or other physical evidence. They argued that the infant could be a smaller adult in a costume, and the female could be a male with padded features. "We've seen elaborate hoaxes before," said Anderson. "Until someone produces a body or tissue samples, this remains unproven." The debate spilled into online forums, scientific conferences, and media outlets. Supporters cited the detailed anatomy as proof of biological authenticity. Critics called it a digital fabrication, a trick of light and shadow, or a carefully staged hoax. In a groundbreaking development, some researchers argued that the new data could finally settle the question. If the footage was genuine, these anatomical features could not be faked convincingly with costumes. But skeptics remained unconvinced, demanding physical evidence. The discovery prompted renewed interest in the original site and surrounding areas. Expeditions were launched, employing drones, thermal imaging, and DNA sampling. The quest to prove or disprove the existence of Bigfoot was reignited with fervor. Despite the new revelations, many questions persisted. The debate raged on. The film, once just a blurry silhouette, had become a symbol of the mystery itself. Decades have passed since the day Patterson and Gimlin captured that fleeting, enigmatic figure on film. The black and white footage, once dismissed by skeptics and embraced by believers, has become etched into the cultural fabric, a symbol of humanity's eternal curiosity and the mysteries lurking just beyond the edge of understanding. The Patterson-Gimlin film is no longer just a simple reel of shaky images. It is a legend, an icon that has transcended the realm of cryptozoology to influence pop culture, art, and the collective imagination. It appears in documentaries, books, comic books, and even Hollywood movies. Its image has been recreated in countless ways: costumes, computer graphics, and digital manipulations. Yet the original remains the most iconic. In the years following the initial release, the film sparked a wave of fascination that refused to fade. Small towns like Willow Creek became pilgrimage sites, with visitors flocking to the forests and the legendary site where the creature was filmed. The local museum dedicated to Bigfoot became a hub of folklore and science, attracting tourists, researchers, and skeptics alike. The story of Bigfoot, once a regional legend, became a worldwide phenomenon. From Native American stories to modern sightings, the idea of an unknown ape-like creature wandering the wilderness captured the collective consciousness. It became a symbol of the wilderness's mystery and humanity's unyielding quest to uncover what remains hidden. Throughout the years, the debate between believers and skeptics persisted. For some, the film was irrefutable proof of a creature that defied scientific description, a living relic of the past. For others, it remained a masterful hoax, a costume, a trick of shadows. Yet what remains undeniable is the cultural power of the story. It has inspired generations of explorers, scientists, and dreamers. It has challenged the boundaries of what we accept as reality and what we dare to believe. The enduring fascination with Bigfoot reflects something fundamental about humans, our insatiable desire to discover the unknown. We look to the forests and mountains, hoping that somewhere out there, in the shadows, a secret waits, an answer to questions that have haunted us for centuries. The Patterson-Gimlin film embodies this quest. Whether it captured an authentic creature or was a masterful illusion, it has become a mirror of our curiosity and our capacity for wonder. It reminds us that some mysteries are worth pursuing, even if the truth remains elusive. Today, new technologies, drones, DNA analysis, thermal imaging, continue the search, building on the legacy of that shaky footage. The forests still whisper stories, and countless eyes scan the shadows, yearning for the next glimpse of the unknown. And perhaps, somewhere deep in the wilderness, the creature still watches silently, unseen, unproven, yet forever part of the story. In the end, the story of Bigfoot isn't just about a mysterious creature. It's about us, our hopes, our fears, our wonder. It's about the mysteries that beckon us beyond the horizon, urging us to look deeper, think broader, and believe in the incredible. Because in the shadows of the forests, in the depths of our collective imagination, the legend of Bigfoot lives on, forever part of the enduring human quest for truth.
For more great short stories, subscribe and turn on your notifications. Thank you for listening.